Welcome to our first Bachelor in Paradise live of the season. We are ready to break down all things Abigail and Noah, Goddess Victoria, Tajuan, the missing uncle, and Demi showing up at the last minute. As always, I'm your host, Zachary Reality, and I am joined today by Avery Grooms and Fiona Zaring. How is everyone doing, guys? Bachelor in Paradise is back. I don't know about you, but I was living last night. Avery, how did you like the premiere?
I was living for it as well. I think it's going to be such a fun season. I actually really like the group we have. I was super excited to see my boys, Ivan, Aaron, and Brendan. I feel like he's looking a lot better. I don't know if it's like the Paradise Sun or something, but he was looking good.
It was his shirt. I liked the pattern zebra red. He was definitely looking hot. But
Hmm.
Fiona, what did you think of the premiere? Who did you like? What were your initial thoughts?
I loved the premiere. I am definitely hooked. I was so excited to finally have another Paradise season because I've said it before, Paradise is my all-time favorite. I'm definitely intrigued by a lot of the emerging couples, and I'm already starting to soften on some of the people that I did not love going into the season, which I know we're going to get into later. I was a
Mhm.
little bummed for my girl Kelsey. I felt like she didn't really find her stride. I was hoping for a great redemption story for her. Maybe there's still time. But overall, I have to say I was really, really impressed and excited to get to know some people like Tajuan that I don't really know very well. So
Mhm.
very excited for the season
Yes.
overall.
Oh, we're gonna get all into Tajwan. Don't you worry. And we're gonna get straight into the episode. But before we do, I do want to remind everyone to subscribe and ring the bell because we will be talking about Bachelor in Paradise all season long. So Paradise was filled with lots of twists, turns, and laughs. And for the first time ever, comedian David Spade took center stage, hosting and greeting the contestants as they came down the beach. Abigail was the first contestant to arrive, followed by Grocery Store Joe, Ivan, and of course, Kelsey with her champagne, which David took a really long time to pop. Kenny showed up naked, and Tammy thought that David Spade was Dave Chappelle. Avery, what were your initial thoughts on David Spade hosting and the greetings? Was there any greeting that particularly stood out to you? I think David did like a really good job. I think he was funny.
I think he did amazing. I wasn't expecting anything less. He's just funny. Just his presence is funny. We all know he's a comedian, but I just look at him and I'm already laughing just because I think he's hilarious. I kind of want him to be a permanent host. I could already see it. It's kind of a vibe. I'm gonna say my favorite entrance was probably Joe's, just because of what David had to say back to him. It was just very funny, the little play on words with the grocery bag. I laughed, so I'm gonna give it to him.
Yes. Oh my God. Fiona, who was your favorite entrance? Was it probably Kelsey's? What did you think of that whole champagne popping situation? I was kind of bummed that Kelsey didn't pop the champagne herself.
Same, I have to say, like I said, I mean, listen, Kelsey did not have a perfect track record on Peter's season, but for some reason, she's one of the ones I've kept with on socials, and I've really come to like her. I would have loved for her to have the champagne pop moment. So I'm not going to give it to Kelsey. I have to say, I have to give it to Tammy just because it was so
Ooh.
unbelievably funny. I think it's relatable. Sometimes you just totally mix up celebrities. I thought it was great. I also have to say, Zachary, you and I were texting last night, and I was like, I don't know if I'm loving David Spade. I don't dislike him, but I think I was expecting to be like laughing my butt off. And by the end of the night, I was like totally laughing, totally cheering for him. I think I had to like get around it, get used to it for a second. But by the end, I was like, okay, this is definitely funny. I hope we see some more from him this season. I think he did a good job.
Yeah, I like David Spade a lot too, and I'm on the same page with you, Avery. Why can't he just be the host of the entire season? Like, why do they have to bring in Lance and Titus and Little John? Like, David was doing a great job, but I'm thinking that maybe because he is like a really busy actor, he couldn't take off like 6 weeks to film Paradise. So that is like the only conclusion I could come to because he had me dying all episode long. But someone else's entrance I wanted to talk about, my favorite was Kenny's because he showed up quote unquote naked with the black box. I mean, obviously he was not naked. There was like a meme going around of the wire like attached to probably his underwear, and they're like, of course we know that he's not naked. Like, okay, but it was still really funny. I like how they try and play on like all these little gimmicks and stuff. So Kenny, you definitely have my heart. I don't know if that's the right word, but I really like Kenny. Avery, do you like Kenny? I know you mentioned before we started filming that you couldn't believe that he was 40.
No, I can't. And yeah, I do really like Kenny. He's not someone who would normally be my type, but I feel like he always just vibed with the group of guys. And like, I feel like he's just a character that needs to be there. There's nothing that I really dislike about him. I think he brings a lot of fun and excitement. And based off the preview, I looks like he gets into a little bit of a love triangle. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that all unravels.
Oh my God, 100%. I cannot wait to talk about Mari and Demi and that whole cake situation. I already know, but we have to talk about everything that happened. So let's start from the beginning, because when everyone got down to the beach, we had a total of 13 girls and 10 guys, which means that 3 girls will go home at the first rose ceremony next week. Bartender Wells reminded everyone that if you don't find love, you will go home. So instantly, we saw some couples forming. We saw Abigail and Noah, Trey and Tajuan, Joe and Serena P, Ivan and Jasenia, and Aaron and Tammy, and some of the others that were just starting to feel each other out. We also saw a lot of makeouts and kisses, so let's take a look at this clip and let's see if we can predict who is in it for the long haul. Lots and lots of make-out sessions. Fiona, I know you're in a relationship, but if you were single, how do you think you would do on Paradise? Would you be making out with someone on the first day? Is that the way? Is that the strategy to stay in longer?
You know, I honestly think I would do horribly in Paradise because I'm such a like people pleaser. I feel like I would not have that like drive to get in there and like fight somebody for the guy I want. So thankful to be in my relationship and not on the beach. But I do think that that is the strategy. Whether or not I could execute it, I think you've got to make really quick moves, because even if it doesn't end up working out, right? Let's say you guys find somebody else that comes on the beach, or you end up not really liking someone. It's all about it working out until it doesn't. You need to get it to work out long enough to get that rose stick around, and then you reassess. So I definitely think all of these people, whether they last for a week or to the end, are on the right track.
Yeah, I agree. I think you need to make out with someone pretty instantly, because the rose ceremony is coming up, and especially if you're one of the girls, you want to get a rose. So if you don't make a move quick, you might get left behind. So I definitely would probably be one of those people making out on the beach if I was on Paradise. But we have to talk about some of our favorite couples on the beach that have already formed, including Abigail and Noah. So Abigail and Noah hit it off immediately. Noah said when he entered that he was interested in meeting Abigail, and Abigail made it very clear that she was also interested in meeting Noah. They immediately pulled each other aside and talked. When Abigail got the first date card of the season, she took Noah on a dinner date full of piñatas in the background. Abigail told Noah on the date that she likes to take things slow, which Noah told her it's going to be hard to do that when you're in such a fast-paced environment like Bachelor in Paradise, especially when they're filming together and living together 24/7. Abigail also revealed that she has a tendency to friend zone guys. However, Noah was persistent in his pursuit, and they sealed the deal with a kiss. Avery, are we shipping Abigail and Noah? I know there's a lot of hesitations online in Bachelor Nation. A lot of people are worried for Abigail because of Noah's past.
I have to say, Noah was very persistent. He was coming on kind of strong, and I feel like Abigail is one of those people that kind of takes a little longer to open up, but I do feel like she is into him. I feel like she was just a little bit nervous, but I don't know about this. I'm still kind of iffy about this relationship. I could see myself shipping it maybe later on, but right now it's just kind of like I don't really see the chemistry. Maybe it's just the nerves, but we'll have to see.
Something does seem a little off with them. I don't know, they were just paired so quickly together, and I would never picture them together in real life. So I don't really know how I feel about it either, but I do love Abigail, and I also kind of like Noah too. So I hope that they work it out. Fiona, what were your thoughts on the date? Do we see them going the distance?
You know, I think I'm just skeptical. I feel like that's what everyone is saying across the board. There were a lot of really cute moments, like that first time he pulled her away, they went off and sat on the lounge chair. They were so giggly, so flirty. I was like, oh, I see this. Wow, like this is so cute. I don't think I would have put them together. But once we got to the pinata date, there were a couple of definitely bumpy moments, and you have to give them both credit. A first date, can be awkward in the real world. Sometimes you have to find your groove, and obviously by the end of the date, they found it. But his whole thing about wanting to take it fast and her wanting to take it slow, like, ultimately that could catch up to them, right? If you have two different philosophies, two different paces in a relationship, even in a fast-paced environment, that doesn't mean it's going to work itself out. I also felt like, as Avery said, he was coming on a little strong. There were a couple of moments where he kind of was acting like he had this really deep, knowledgeable understanding of, oh, Abigail, you don't like it when people underestimate you and just call you nice. And I was sort of like, you don't know her. You don't know that about her yet. Like, lucky guess, I guess, but watch yourself, Noah. He's going to remove himself from the situation if he outpaces her too much, I guess is my takeaway.
Yeah. But do we think he had a plan, Avery? Because he kind of was an F-boy last season. He got into a huge fight with Bennett. They were feuding all season. Noah did come out of that situation victorious, but he kind of has that reputation of being a little bit of a player. And here we have Abigail, who was the sweetest girl on Matt James' season. A lot of people wanted her to be the Bachelorette. Do we think this is a calculated move by Noah to go instantly for Abigail? When he was describing it, it was kind of weird because he was like, oh, I'm a nurse. I've worked with, girls with, deaf and hearing disabilities in the past. Like, it was just a weird correlation. I was just a little confused.
It was a very weird correlation. I was just kind of confused why he used that as like a reason for why he should go on a date with Abigail or why he should even form a connection with her. So it does seem like he did kind of have a little bit of a calculated plan because he went straight to Abigail, no one else. And like that was his whole motive, was because he's a nurse and he's worked with deaf patients before. And it shouldn't have to be about that, So I did think it was kind of odd. And like I said, he came on so strong. It was like, chill, you guys need to just take this first date to really get to know each other, not just make all these assumptions or act like you know so much about her, Noah. So I don't know. I'm a little iffy about it.
Yeah, I feel that. I'm a little skeptical as well, but I'm also seeing them be a little giggly and like maybe they are feeling some butterflies. So I'm going to try and root for them until Noah proves me wrong. But so far, I really like them together. But I do want to move on to Joe and Serena P. So originally, when Grocery Store Joe walked on the beach, he noticed he had some competition because Ivan said he was also interested in Serena. However, Joe quickly realized that his biggest hurdle was actually going to be himself. So Joe fell in love with Kendall last time he was in Paradise 2 years ago, and they left the show together and dated for 2 years. Joe questioned if he could even stay on the beach as he was feeling all of the emotions and didn't know if love would happen for him again. Shortly after Joe started talking to Serena P, there was a spark and it was genuine. They laughed about the age gap between them, which is 23 and 35, so about 12 years. And Joe explained to Serena about why the Kendall relationship did not work out. Joe said they grew apart and neither was willing to budge locations, which I thought was a really interesting point because Serena, my girl Serena P, she's in Canada. So Joe is in Chicago. He seems to be pretty deep rooted there. So I don't know if that's going to be an issue for them later down the road or maybe the age gap. They did seem really genuine and into each other. Fiona, what were your kind of initial thoughts on their conversation? Did you see the spark? Is this relationship going to go the distance?
Yeah, well, first of all, I really, really like Serena, and I did not remember her being as young as she is because my takeaway of her on Matt James this season was that she's really mature. So I don't necessarily know that I mind the age gap so much, right? If you guys are comfortable with it, then cool, we'll see where it goes. I loved their connection. I thought even though the conversation they were having, you guys, was totally like awkward a little bit, like it really did work. They carried through it.
Yeah.
They were enjoying it so much that it didn't bother me. The only thing that's making me feel apprehensive about these two is Joe was in such a difficult place, like pacing down the beach, really stressed. Like he was in such a state that people were literally just letting him be, right? They weren't sending contestants in to go try to pick his brain. Like he was really, really upset. And all of a sudden, one, like I said, not very deep, but pleasant conversation with Serena. He's all in. He's super happy. Just hints that maybe he's not really in a place to move on to somebody new. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm skeptical of. Not their connection. Just, is this the best thing for him right now, if that makes sense?
Yeah, no, that does make sense because Paradise Spring brought back all the feels for Joe. Like he did fall in love with Kendall, it did not work out. So I kind of understand why everything was being revisited because now he's back in this situation. But I really do think Serena and Joe have a genuine connection. You could tell when they were talking how authentic it was. So I think they're gonna go pretty far. Obviously, we know they're gonna go far enough for Kendall to show up later in the season. Avery, can we predict how that is going to go? Do we think Kendall and Joe maybe aren't over each other yet?
Ooh, I don't know. I'm really scared for her entrance. I have to say, the whole Joe thing was a bit dramatic for me because he walked in like, this is something that really works. I got a solid 2-year relationship out of it, yada, yada, yada. Then we see him pacing on the beach, like, I have PTSD. I want to leave now. But it seems to me that he also is someone who came in and knew exactly who he wanted, which was Serena. And it seems like he hasn't even given anyone else a chance. So I know he's just going to stay with Serena and she seems like she's going to stay with him. But I'm just worried to see Kendall's reaction and have their conversation unravel. And then Serena's going to be watching it. And that's just one of the worst situations to be in. You know, they were in a 2-year relationship. Now he's trying to build a new one. And that could maybe get in the way. And it's hard to watch your ex watch you get to know someone else. So I'm
Mhm.
nervous.
It's gonna be juicy though. I know a lot of us are anticipating the
Mm-hmm.
Kendall episode, but I don't want to glaze over the Joe and Ivan thing because they were both going for Serena P at first. And I know a lot of people online were shipping Ivan and Serena from before the season even started. But then after watching the episode, Ivan kind of had to take a step back because he realized Serena was vibing with Joe. And then Ivan started to flirt with Jasenia, who I personally really like. Fiona, do we like Jasenia and Ivan, or do you think Ivan should try and pursue Serena P?
No, I actually really did like Jasenia and Ivan. I think that they're both really nice people, but they also have like another streak to them. Like they can be really funny. They have multiple sides. And like Jasenia, we didn't get to know very well in that season, right? And then obviously she was heartbroken and sent home. And Ivan, what we really saw from him on Tasha's season consistently was how incredibly thoughtful, kind, wonderful he was. But we didn't see really all the other sides of his personality. And just the little glimpses we saw of these two, I feel like they kind of bring something else out in each other. So I don't know that they're going to make it through all the way, but I was curious if this connection could really go somewhere.
Yeah, I think a lot of the girls were going to go for Ivan throughout the entire season. He's a hot commodity, so I'm looking forward to seeing it. I kind of like Ivan and Jasenia, and then I like Serena and Joe just because I know they really like each other. So we'll have to see how it all plays out. But enough of these heavy, serious relationships. We need to move on to some of the more lighthearted moments of the episode. But before we do that, I do want to remind everyone to leave comments, leave questions, leave your opinions because we are going to do a live Q&A at the end of today's live. So shall we get into Tajuan and Trey? I think it's appropriate. Now we've waited long enough. Tajuan came into Bachelor in Paradise probably being the most irrelevant contestant we've ever had. Little did we know she was not only going to be the star of the first episode, but she actually may have given us one of the most fascinating, funny situationships, dare I say, of Bachelor in Paradise history. So Tajuan came into Paradise with a past dating Trey's uncle. She said that they met on a dating app and they went on a date. Tajuan also really hit it off with Trey and wanted to pursue a relationship with him. So she told him about her past with his uncle, aka Uncle Trey Cooper. And Trey didn't seem to care too much. He kind of rolled his eyes about it. I don't know. This uncle kind of seems like Uncle Nino from Jersey Shore, just like one of those uncles, the way Trey just kind of laughed it off. And it was only a matter of time before Trey and Tajuan started kissing. And Tajuan said, and I quote, he kisses better than his uncle. So much to unpack here. Avery, what were your initial thoughts on the Tajuan, Uncle Trey Cooper, and Trey Cooper love triangle, dare I call it?
That's some crazy stuff. I was honestly like confused on why he didn't really even flinch when she was like, I dated your uncle. He just really
Yeah.
brushed it off, and then she did as well. And it kind of seemed to have brought them closer together even quicker. But can we just talk about her intro really quick when she came in and she was talking about how she was on a previous season of Paradise, and they kept showing clips of her saying like, "Oh, it's so hot, it's so hot." And then next thing you know in her interview, she's like literally sweating. I feel like the producers like misted her just for dramatic effect. But I think she's hilarious and I think Trey's hilarious, so I want to see more of them together, and I actually could see them going the distance.
Yeah, but what is that family dinner gonna look like at Thanksgiving, Fiona? Could you ever date someone that previously dated your uncle?
I mean, listen, I'm reversing it in my head, right? Like let's say somebody dated one of my aunts. My aunts are all significantly older than me and would just if the guy somehow was able to be with my aunt and then come to me, he was not going to be the right fit for either of us, right? Because we're so far out as a family. We're too close, like it just never would work. But not all families are the same. Like we have no idea how close Trey is to this uncle. Like do they even talk? Do they even hang out? We don't know if his uncle is like a serial dater. He goes on like 1,200 dating apps a week and they all live in the same small town. So maybe this isn't that weird. Also, we don't know the age gap between, his mother and this brother. Maybe she was fully grown and then a new baby came into the mix. Like we really just don't know. So I feel like they're obviously very intentionally holding us in suspense. We're not going to find out a lot of details. The only way I can go with okay, this isn't weird, is Trey and his uncle are just, not that close. And she and him met up on a dating app, went on a date, shared a quick kiss, and it really didn't go anywhere. I think that no matter how close you are to your uncle, if she and him dated for months and months on end, too weird.
Well, I think it was just, from what I've gathered, I think it was just like a one date experience. And I also feel like this uncle probably, like you said, dates a bunch of young girls and it's probably just his shtick. He did say on the show, Trey said that it was his mom's brother. And I assume that they're really close. And Trey also put on his Instagram story right before we came on live, uncle reveal coming soon. So if you look at Trey's social media, you will not be able to find the uncle. I already tried to find him. I want this uncle's digits, okay? If Tajuan does not want the uncle, I want him because he seems fine as hell. I don't know. I'm kind of feeling this uncle. But what else do you think we can predict for Tajuan the rest of Paradise, Avery? Because she is a character.
Yeah, I mean, we shot a live like a month ago, and I think you asked Zach who's gonna get sent home first, and we had the whiteboards, and I wrote Tajuan because I literally knew nothing about her, and she seemed so irrelevant. But now I take it all back. She seems like she might be a main character because she's actually really funny, and I also think Trey's like one of the funniest guys we have on the show. So them two together, I think, could be stars of this season of Paradise.
Definitely Trey and Tajuan is a power couple in the making. I mean, Tajuan is just main character energy. I love Tajuan. So hashtag Team Tajuan from here on out. Like, she's just giving me life. But we do have to talk about Queen Victoria, who came into Paradise ready to throw away her crown and rebrand her image. Since her time on The Bachelor, she's been using crystals, meditating, chakras. She is a whole new woman and came into Paradise as Goddess Victoria. And while she has cleaned up her act, it might not be enough to win over some of these guys. Goddess Victoria was struggling to find a man on the beach and tried to use her 5-second rule to score a man. The 5-second rule is where you stare at a guy for 5 seconds with googly eyes and see if you can make eye contact and maybe there will be a spark. Unfortunately, nothing stuck, but it is only the first episode, so maybe she needs a couple days. Avery, what are your thoughts on this rebrand from queen to goddess? Are you feeling the queen or are you feeling the goddess?
I don't know which one I'm feeling. I think I'm feeling the goddess more because she seems to have toned it down. She seems a little more calm and not as problematic. But it was just the first episode. I don't think her little 5-second stare thing was working though. I think she needs to try a different approach because everyone seemed to just look the other direction. I hope she can find someone. If anyone, I'm gonna have to go with Carl. I like when villains get with villains.
Yes.
But I don't really see anyone else going for her, and I don't see her really going for anyone either, but maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, at least she's gonna get this rebrand because now she's coming in as a very zen, positive person. So even though she wasn't much in the trailer, we don't know if she's really gonna find love. But at least she's gonna clean up her image because she wasn't very well liked on Matt James's season. Fiona, what are your overall thoughts on Goddess Victoria? Could we ever see maybe a Goddess Fiona? Is that possibly in your future?
Oh my goodness. Wow. I hadn't even thought about it. I think somebody I saw
welcome.
on Twitter found the Amazon link to a very
Yes,
similar
I saw that.
headband. So I don't know. Maybe I'll have to order that and surprise you with it. But I have to say, you know how I feel about Victoria. I was not excited to have her here. I was worried that she was going to come in and immediately set the beach on fire. And I also wasn't sure how this goddess situation was going to play out. But I have to say, I was really impressed because she brought in all, the crystals and the spiritual healing and whatever it is she was saying. And she kind of made it seem as though the goddess stemmed from her being the best version of herself, doing a lot of positive work on herself. She didn't present it as, I am the goddess, I am above everyone, I am, the ruler of all beings. It wasn't that vibe. And that in and of itself was so refreshing. Then she went on to really not try to ruffle, at least that we saw, ruffle feathers on the beach. She went up to everybody. She said hello. She kind of played it shy. I feel like she kind of hung back and kept quiet, kept her cool. So I don't think we're going to see her go very far, but I told you I would keep an open mind, and she definitely earned some points last night.
Yeah, and it also seemed like she was on good terms with a lot of the girls. I think the assumption was that she was like hated by all the girls, but a lot of the girls were happy to see her. I think editing plays a huge play in things. Like maybe someone did make eye contact with her and then they just put the music on. But if you guys see me wearing the goddess crown that me and Fiona saw on Amazon like next week, and I'm calling myself Goddess Zachary, just don't be surprised because it's very possible, because this goddess energy, it seems pretty appealing to me. So we stan the goddess, okay? But some other connections we saw was a makeout between Connor the cat and Marisa. And Aaron told the guys he was planning on giving his first rose to Tammy. Jasenia made it clear that she had a crush on Ivan. Kenny and Mari even made out on the beach. So many connections are forming, but will they last? Because Queen Demi is back. Demi from Colton's season of The Bachelor and Bachelor in Paradise season 6 came in at the end of the episode with a date card to cause chaos and, in Demi's words, steal their men. Demi's coming in hot. She might be the new queen in town. I saw on her Instagram that she was ready to take Victoria's crown because Victoria is now the goddess. Avery, do we like Demi? Do you remember her from Paradise? Were you a big fan of her on Colton's season?
Not a huge fan. I feel like now she's adopted that Queen Victoria energy, which I don't understand why she had to come in so hot. Maybe because this is like her territory. But I think her method, like, I'm going to come in and steal other people's men, I don't think that's going to work. I think it's going to create bumps in the road for couples. But at the end of the day, I think the men will choose someone else, because I don't know if she's ready for like an engagement or to be that committed. I think she just wants to come in and have fun and like ruffle people's feathers.
No, she's definitely not coming for an engagement. Now, if you guys don't remember, she was engaged last time she was on Paradise. She brought in her girlfriend, Christian, and they got engaged on the show, which I think was amazing just for the LGBTQ community, because we don't see those love stories happen a lot on TV, especially on The Bachelor. But obviously that relationship didn't work out, and now she's back to cause chaos. I don't think she's back for a connection. I don't think she's back for love. I think she is back to just rule the beach and give us good TV. So I'm personally here for it. I like her. I think she's so entertaining. We see a lot of her in the preview. Fiona, what were your kind of thoughts on Demi coming in? Are you a fan of Demi, or is she kind of coming in too hot?
Well, she looked amazing, and I wanted her whole outfit, and her nails looked incredible. But that's pretty much all I was charmed by. I was like, wow, she looks so good. Everything else from there, I really didn't enjoy. Like, I have to say, Queen Victoria energy, Avery, is like the perfect way to put it. That's exactly how I was expecting Victoria to come in. And she didn't. And Demi did. And I have to say, I was really rubbed the wrong way. I know at the end of the day, listen, a lot of people are there for a lot of reasons, love being one of them. But, this is a reality television show. There are strategies, there are angles being played across the beach. But to go in there and market yourself as being there to
Yeah.
steal other people's men, like, that's just like it's kind of like Thomas saying like, yeah, the Bachelor's on my mind. Like, it's a little too putting your dirty laundry out there for me. Like, at least pretend that you're there for a relationship. At least pretend that you have good intentions. Like, leading with the foot of, I am just here to make people upset and mess things up and take what's mine and get what I want. Like, why? I'm never gonna root for those characters. So I love the drama. I'm sure it's gonna create good TV, but I can't like root for her, you know? Now I just have to like sit back and wait for her to blow things up.
Yeah, I get what you guys are saying. Like, that makes a lot of sense. But I just think she's so entertaining. So I'm happy that she's back because she's going to give us what we want on Paradise. And we did see her in the preview making out with Brendan. So I'm assuming she's going to give Brendan the date card. And then we also saw in a preview, if you guys saw, Brendan called her phony. So that's probably going to blow up in her face. And then we obviously know she's going to go over to Kenny. And then she's just going to be in so much drama all season long. So I am really looking forward to it. But we are going to open it up to our Q&A. So if you guys have Bachelorette in Paradise opinions, questions, anything you guys want to say, let us know right now. We're going to be reading off of your questions, and we are really excited to hear from you guys. Avery, is there anyone else we didn't touch on, maybe like Carl or Tammy, that you kind of had an opinion on or wanted to sound off?
Connor the cat.
Yeah.
I think he's making moves, but again, I don't think they're going to be long term because he's with so far Marisa. Am I correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we see her in the previews. I think she ends up finding someone else down the road, which was kind of sad because I liked them together, but I don't know. I feel like he's going to walk away alone, which is sad because I'm a fan, but we'll have to see.
Yeah. I'm more sad that he didn't show up in a cat costume. Like, that was his whole shtick. Like, why did he not show up in a cat costume on the beach? When Alexis Waters was a dolphin shark on Nick Vile's season, she came to Paradise as a dolphin shark. I'm also kind of disappointed that James didn't show up in like a box or a present. Maybe they could have incorporated something.
They're rebranding.
Yes. I don't know. But what about they didn't give us any intros either. You know how they do the intros every season with the slow motion? We didn't get to see that. So maybe next week we'll get to see that because I love the intros and like the song. But Virgo says, not a fan of Victoria or Demi, but the drama. See, that's the thing on Bachelor in Paradise. You're either going to love the villains or you're going to hate the villains. And it kind of comes down to, are you watching the show for drama or are you watching the show for love? And we have quite a few villains on this season. We have Demi, we have Tammy, we have Victoria. Fiona, who is your favorite villain on the season so far? Who do we think is going to be the biggest villain?
Be the biggest villain. So far, I think Tammy's really redeemed herself a lot in my book. So she's my favorite like redemption story. In terms of being the biggest villain, I think it's gonna be Demi. I mean, I don't know how after that episode to not put it on her. Maybe she won't be, but that's kind of, I think, inevitable.
Yeah, or maybe Thomas when he comes in, he's gonna get into a lot of drama. But also Aaron in the extended teaser, we saw Aaron getting in a fight with Thomas. He was also up in Ivan's face. I don't really know how I feel about all that like fighting stuff, so not really a fan so far. But Aaron's hot, so I like him too. I probably would have gave him my rose if I was there. Avery, what is Teresa saying?
Teresa said, I am so happy Tajuan gets her turn for love. She is gorgeous. I am happy too. I'm so excited we finally kind of get to see more of her and her personality because she is hilarious. And like we've said, she has that main character energy. So I just hope we keep getting more and more of that.
I want to see Tajuan all season long. I want the engagement. I want the hometown date. We need to see Trey and Tajuan. Do we think that they'll possibly bring in the uncle, like maybe midway through the season? Because they do crazy things on this show. Fiona, are we going to see the uncle? Is there any chance?
You know, you said Trey's teasing out on his Instagram and uncle reveal,
Yeah.
so I'm with you. They do crazy things, but I feel like he wouldn't be allowed to tease it if we were going to see it on the show. So maybe
True.
that won't
True.
happen, but certainly other crazy things will. Tiffany says, "I love David Spade. Did a great job and brought humor to the drama." He did do a great job, and I think that there was something really fun about the fact that he kind of owned that he was a fish out of water, right? He was like, "I'm David
Mhm.
Spade." He did not try to emulate any sort of Chris Harrison energy. He really made it his own. He definitely has that very like dry sense of humor that I really loved watching the contestants try to match him as they were like entering onto the
Mhm.
beach. It brought a fun element to the show. So definitely think that this crazy system they have come up with for hosting this season may pan out better than we thought. Maybe we'll come to really enjoy it. Who knows?
Yeah, David Spade's so kooky. He's funny. I mean, he is a well-known comedian and actor, so of course he's gonna bring it. But Wells Adams, the bartender, he was kind of serious on last night's
Mhm.
episode. I feel like he's become the therapist bartender, and we also know he's gonna be the master of rose ceremonies. So he actually has to be serious because we all know how intense rose ceremonies are. So I guess we're getting that like comedic energy from David that we used to get from Wells like in the past. So I am here for it. Fiona, why don't you read what Terrence said? Because he's talking to you and Avery.
Oh, he is. Okay, so he says,
Yeah.
"Fiona and Avery, I disagree with you, ladies. Demi's just coming in to have steamy makeouts, hot hookups, and have wild fun, and I'm here for it. I love Demi."
Thank
Here's the
you,
thing, Terrence.
Terrence.
I don't think we disagree very much, though. Like, I agree with you. I think she's there to have some hot hookups, to have some steamy makeouts, and that's cool. But I do think she could have accomplished all of that without coming in so hot and without actively seeking out other people's men. That's where she crossed the line for me. Like, there are plenty of men on that beach. You don't need to go steal someone's, at least not yet.
But isn't Demi just dry and sarcastic, just like David Spade? Like, they have a similar sense of humor. Demi's just like a flirty girl.
Maybe. Maybe
Yes.
she's just being dramatic.
Yeah.
And also, they need someone to cause more conflict now that Victoria's kind of calmed down. So Demi has to step in and take on that role.
Period.
does.
Yeah, what is Eduardo saying, Avery?
Eduardo said, "Right now, I don't like Abigail and Noah as a couple. I still don't like him, but if they end up together and treat her right, I'll be happy for her." I think we all can agree we just want Abigail to be happy. I
Yeah.
just don't know if Noah's going to be the one to do that long term. I don't realistically see them getting engaged at the end of this. I don't think that's the best thing for either of them. But maybe a lot of things can change as episodes go on and we really see an authentic relationship develop. But just on paper, they seem like total opposites to me.
But then who else is Abigail gonna go for on the beach? Like even someone that might be coming up in future episodes. Do you see her with anyone else? Because I just can't really think of who else she would be with. Maybe Connor the cat?
Ivan?
Maybe Connor, maybe James,
Not
Ivan.
James.
I like
Yeah, I don't
Ivan
even
or
know.
Connor. I want her with a good guy. Someone
Yeah.
who we, as like in Bachelor Nation,
Mhm.
also think is like so nice and so good. That's where I want her
Yeah.
to be.
That would
I
be
know, 'cause she
Ivan,
almost
but I just
was.
don't think they like each other like that.
They seem
Yeah,
like they kind
I
of
didn't see a
friend zoned
spark.
each other. They seem like they kind of
No,
friend
yeah,
zoned each other. Everyone
immediately.
just wants Abigail to be happy. She was almost the Bachelorette, so hopefully she finds love. But Noah's the best option for her right now. Natalie says, I think Carl will also be a villain. Carl is definitely going to be a villain. We saw him fighting with someone maybe in the teaser. I don't think that Carl's going to stick around long. I think that he has the rose this first week. You know, there's 10 guys. Now there's 14 girls because Demi came in. So I don't even know who he's going to give his rose to. But I can't believe that 4 girls are already going home. Avery, who do we think is going to go home out of the 4? I think I know a couple people that are definitely not getting a lot of airtime right off the bat.
Yes. Serena C, we did not see, I think, any much of her like at all. I forgot she was even there until looking at this picture. So I'm going to say she's definitely going home. And I'm sorry, Zach, but I think Goddess Victoria is also going to be sent home. I just don't see her making a
Yeah.
connection with anyone else. But everyone else, who knows? A lot can change. They still need a little more time to get to know each other, so maybe more relationships will develop. But for sure, Victoria and Serena C. Who do you think, Fiona?
Well, as you said that, I was trying to look at the picture there because I agree with both of those. I definitely do. We didn't see Victoria P, I believe is her
Yeah.
last initial. We didn't
Uh-huh.
see her make
yeah.
any real connections. And then we also really didn't see Kelsey make any connections. She
Yeah.
kind of was just as
Mm-mm.
struggling with the guys as Queen Victoria was. So I honestly feel like that could be
Goddess
it. Two
Victoria.
Victorias. Yeah, Goddess Victoria, other
Address her
Victoria.
correctly. She did
Sorry,
this whole
Serena.
rebrand. Like, she deserves to be
Come
called
on,
goddess.
Fiona.
We're all gonna be making mistakes calling her queen, but like, she did this whole rebrand. We have to just call her the goddess. But I think Kelsey's in trouble too. To be honest, I like Kelsey. She came in with a lot of confidence, but I just don't know who she's vibing with right now. And 4 girls are going home. Like, that's a lot of
Yeah.
girls. Also, Natasha, I like her a lot. She has a lot of confidence about her, but she didn't make an initial connection with anyone on the beach. And I don't know about Deandra either, who she made a connection with, but there was so many people, so many introductions. But Teresa is saying, who do we think will go for Becca? I mean, I think we all saw in the teasers that Thomas and Becca seem to be really happy together on the previews. So I think Thomas is going to go for Becca. It's going to be crazy when Becca walks in. I don't know when she's going to walk in, but it's going to be a huge bomb drop. Avery, how do you think that's going to go when Becca comes down?
I think people will be shocked because this is the first Bachelorette we've ever had go on Paradise, so that's new. And also, I think people will be shocked to see her with Thomas because, as we know, he was a huge villain, and we definitely don't look at Becca in the same light. But I think she's into him just based off of the teasers and the vibes I got. I think she's as equally into him as he is into her, which also scares me because who knows what his intentions are. I don't know what to believe from that guy. So I'm really looking forward to see them like spark.
It's gonna be interesting. Fiona, what do you think about Thomas and Becca? What if like Becca comes in before Thomas and she has to make a connection with someone else?
I don't even know. I feel like it's honestly really stressful to me that she's going to be there because I don't want her to get hurt. And the fact that they are teasing such intense connection between her and Thomas really bums me out. It makes me wonder if maybe they do send her in before he gets there and she doesn't really make a connection. She's struggling with some of the guys. And then Thomas appears and is like, okay, I'm obsessed with you. I love you. I'm going to marry you. And she just like goes for it because she's worried about going home. I don't know. I just feel like based on what we all learned about Thomas, why? Like, I don't understand. I totally understand why he's there. I get it. Great casting, excellent choice. Definitely going to ruffle some feathers. But this is not what I was expecting from him. I was not expecting a love story. So I'm a little nervous.
Yeah. But Fiona, you are giving Tammy a second chance. You're giving Victoria a second chance. You can let me know if you're giving Carl a second chance, but do you think you are open to giving Thomas a second chance? I'm not trying to say I am. I don't really like Thomas either. I'm just wondering because you have some issues with the villains.
I do have some issues with the villains. I don't think I'm giving Carlo a second chance because I honestly wasn't charmed by him at all, right? He like was kind of annoying and then I wasn't charmed by him, so I'm kind of over him. Thomas, I would be willing to see if he promotes a more authentic version of himself. If he just comes in and says all of the right things and is Mr. Smooth again, there's no way I'm going to be able to give him a second chance. I need him to seem real.
What if he did chakras? What if he did meditation? What if he went to therapy? And what if he is goddess Thomas? Is this a possibility? If so, Thomas and Victoria need to get together.
Honestly, if so, if it all plays out like that, Zachary, then yes, I will commit to being on board. But it has to play out exactly like that.
Exactly like that. Thomas, get the chakras, get the crown, get everything ready. See, my biggest problem with Thomas is actually that he didn't show up to the Men Tell All. Like, there was no excuse for him not to be there. I think he said in an interview on like Bachelor Happy Hour that he was so busy with work and he has like 5 businesses. But I'm like, there's no excuse for him to not show up in person unless it was like something with COVID, because he could have been there. I was bummed that he didn't show up and like face everybody. So how do you think that's going to go, Avery, when he faces the rest of the guys?
Yeah, that was bad that he didn't show up for the Men Tell All. That means he was just scared and afraid to like confront people and get confronted. So that's going to come when he shows up in paradise. And I think he should be nervous. But also, we already saw him and Aaron fighting in the clips. And you know, Aaron, like he's always instantly in the drama, in guys' faces. If he has a problem with them, he'll let them know. So Thomas has a lot coming for him, but I could totally see him just reacting in the same way that we know he did on last season. Like just that monotone voice. He's saying all these things. Sometimes it doesn't make sense and they sound completely like just not genuine at all.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting him to change. If he changes, it's like, what change? He has to change his whole tone of voice for it to come off like believable, you know?
Thomas has to do a bigger rebrand than Victoria. But we do want to look at some fan tweets, and you guys have to follow us on Twitter at Shared News. We are doing lots of tweets every Monday night, every Tuesday night. So make sure you guys follow us, but we're going to check out some fan tweets and see what people say. Radhika says, anyone else peep the following that show up on Bachelor in Paradise from the promo? Tia, Dr. Joe, Damar, and McKenna. Honestly, out of all of these names, I think Tia is like the biggest name drop for me. I can't believe she is coming back. The last time we saw Tia on Paradise, she was dating Colton and she was obsessing over Colton. And we all know how that kind of played out in real life. So I don't know what Tia is doing there. Fiona, out of these names, who are you looking forward to seeing?
Well, Dr. Joe and Damar, I'm pretty excited about because I remember being into them, being excited about them on Tayshia's season and, you know, not super seeing the connection, but thinking they were great guys. So very happy about that.
Mhm.
I actually really was here for McKenna in Peter's season. It feels like 100 years ago. But she and Kelsey are like BFFs in real life. So I don't know that other people will be as interested by this. I'm totally with you. Tia is like a bigger deal. But I'm so curious if we'll get to see McKenna and Kelsey on the beach at the same time because they are like
No,
besties.
we need McKenna and Tammy on the beach at the same time. I want to see that round two. They never sorted things out, even at the tell-all. Like, they never got to a good place. I don't know if they ever made up, like, on social media, but I need to see them. Avery, what about you? Who are you excited to see out of these people? I think you like Damar, right? You said that?
I love Damar. He just seems like such a fun, genuine guy. And I feel like Dr. Joe and Damar would really be like a win for the ladies. I could definitely see him maybe with Tammy. I don't know why, but he's just fun. He brings the energy and he's pretty unproblematic for the most part. That could change in Paradise, but I'm looking forward to them. And I think the girls will be super excited.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be excited to see him too. He has a lot of swag. Barkley says, missing Chris Harrison, hashtag Bachelor in Paradise. The Chris Harrison saga. I feel like that chapter has really closed and we kind of moved on as a franchise. I think he will always be a Bachelor living legend, but I think that Caitlyn and Tayshia did a great job on Michelle's season, and I feel like David Spade is really killing it too. So I kind of think that while I wish he had a smoother exit out, I think that everything kind of happened the way it was supposed to. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
I agree. I really do.
Yeah, I agree. I second.
So I'm sorry, Barkley, but maybe he'll be going to another TV show. I don't know. There's like rumors that he might be hosting something else, or maybe go on Dancing with the Stars. So we'll have to check that out. Oh my God, Brett S. Figuera has the best Twitter ever. Bachelor in Paradise is truly my Super Bowl. I love sports. Me too, Brett. Me too. Avery, do you love sports?
If we're talking about these sports, yes, this is something I could always get behind. This is our Super Bowl, and yes, I'm fully locked in.
Like seriously,
100%.
Same here. I love when like other people who like watch sports, like they don't understand like the world we live in where we talk about Bachelor and Housewives and all that stuff. And I'm like, well, I don't understand what a touchdown is either. Well, I actually do, but like it's the same thing. So like we all have our certain things. But Fiona, what is Allie saying?
Allie says David Spade attempting to have a serious conversation with Victoria is one of the greatest things I've ever seen. It really was awesome. And that was like a great David Spade moment that I think, not to go back to the Chris Harrison of it all, but like we wouldn't have gotten from Chris, right? Like it was so funny, the juxtaposition of having David Spade and Goddess Victoria standing there on, like, it just was funny. It added a different type of humor to the show, right? We get funny moments from the cast. We're used to funny moments from Wells. You know, Chris has some moments, but they weren't the same tone as, like I said it earlier, this fish out of water having David Spade there. What is he doing there? How is he talking to these people? Where is the common ground? It was really funny, and I think it was great.
He's killing it. And Chris Harrison did have funny moments in Paradise. I remember that one scene with Chad Johnson where, you know, Chad calls him out for having a robe on and a mimosa. Like, Chris had a funny scene with Ed too on Claire and Tayshia's season. Like, Chris had a lot of comical moments, but I think now with these new hosts coming in, there's going to be a lot more funny elements from a host that's like less serious. So I'm looking forward to that. Avery, what is Danielle saying?
Danielle says, I've never wanted someone to find love as badly as I do grocery store Joe. I mean, I don't feel the same way. I want him to find love, but at the same time, I'm like, is this the place for it? Like, it worked once, but like, should he be going through this process again? Maybe, since Serena's here and they already kind of have a connection, but it kind of seems a little bit tormenting for him. Like, you know, he said he was having moments of PTSD and wanted to go home, but maybe that will turn around for him and it'll be worth it.
Yeah, hopefully. Maria says, Serena P is super cute and I love her personality. I can totally see why all the guys fall for her. Serena P was the hot commodity. I think a lot of the guys were probably most interested in her out of everyone. And Serena and Joe had a genuine connection. So, but it's like, will it work out with her? She is a lot younger than Kendall. So if it was not working with Kendall, like, why do you think it's going to work with someone who's way younger, from a different country? They have a lot of odds against them, but they do have that genuine spark. So I think that they will make it last. So time will tell. We're in for a pretty good season. They're going to be doing Monday and Tuesday nights in the future. So we have a lot of content to cover here. Fiona, what is Sammy saying?
Sammy says it really isn't the same without JPJ, and shout out grocery store Joe for carrying this season on his back.
No, Tajuan is carrying the season.
I was gonna say, I
Tajuan
definitely
is
think Joe
carrying.
like made an impact last night, but it's funny because people are really gonna have different people they're rooting for, looking forward to seeing the most as we go through this season. That's why Paradise is so much fun.
Yeah, and I mean, I like that Joe is there because we want the OGs. If it's all new people, it's just like, we want the OGs that have the history. Like, nothing can compare to Joe and Kendall, and then Becca's history, Tia, like her last time on Paradise, Demi. Like, we need the mix of the OGs, but I think a lot of the OGs at the same time, it's like, what are you doing here? You already had your 15 minutes. So it's kind of like a toss and pull. It depends on if you actually liked the OG, but it's nice to see everyone mix things up. Bachelor Bob says, if ABC backs up the Brinks truck and makes the newly single Tyler C the next Bachelor, I will literally lose my mind. For the love of God, make it happen. Sorry, not sorry. Hashtag Bachelor in Paradise. I mean, this is a good topic to discuss as well, because Mike Flies did tweet that he might announce who the next Bachelor is pretty soon, and Tyler Cameron is newly single. I would love for it to be Tyler. I just don't think Tyler would do it. We could be days away or weeks away from deciding who, or hearing about who the next Bachelor is going to be. So Avery, Fiona, who do we think it's going to be? Andrew S., Michael A., Greg? Where are our heads at?
I definitely don't think it'll be Tyler, because I think that would come at like a huge cost. Like, I don't think they could even afford him at this rate because he's so big. And at the same time, I don't think that's something he really wants to get behind. So I'm going to have to maybe go with Michael A. or Andrew. I thought we were going to have time and maybe have a little more options from Michelle's season and pick from that whole group as well. But yeah, I would have to go with Andrew S. or Michael A. And I mean, after the final rose, I really got to like Justin a lot. He is still very low key, but he could be a contender maybe. He's sweet.
Yeah,
For
from what
some
I've
reason-
gathered. No, go for it.
Sorry, Zach. Well, all I was going to say is for some reason my gut tells me Michael A right now. I don't know what it is. I feel like he's posting on his socials, not in like a thirsty way, but he's definitely like keeping the charm up. And we have to remember Michelle's season like is filming. So it's totally possible that they're starting to get to know some of the guys from Michelle's season and going, all right, these are some great guys, but does any story compare to the unique season we could have with a widow who all of America, or is it widow if it's a man too? You know what I mean? Who all of America has fallen in love with. So I just feel like it's Michael A. That's my gut. I don't know why. It kind of happened this week. All of a sudden I was like, it's Michael A. It's Michael A. So we'll see.
Well, from what I've gathered, it might be. From what I've gathered, they have to start filming for The Bachelor before Michelle's season airs because they threw in this extra season. So it's very possible that we don't know who America's going to fall in love with on Michelle's season. And that's why it might not be able to be someone from Michelle's season. So that's why there's a lot of talk about it, because that was my original thought. It was going to be someone from her season because it was more relevant, but they're squeezing in an extra season of Bachelor this year. So it's going to be interesting. You guys are going to have to let us know who you think will be the next Bachelor. Let us know what you guys are excited for on Bachelor in Paradise. This is everything we have to share with you guys today. We want to hear your thoughts. So even if you missed the live, comment down below. Who are you shipping? What do you guys think? Abigail and Noah, Serena and Joe. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our social, ring the bell, because we'll be back with more Bachelor in Paradise recaps all season long. As always, I'm your host, Zachary Reality, and I was joined today by Avery Grooms and Fiona Zaring. Our social media handles are on the screen right now, so give us a follow, say hello, and we will see you guys next time. See you later. Bye.
Bye.